Turkey Al-Sheikh was making moves at the ring ceremony just last week, as it looks like we're going to get the biggest rematch possible in the sport of boxing, one of the biggest fights in the sport of boxing. Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia 2. But it looks like not only might we get the sequel, but a trilogy as well. We're going to talk about all the latest rumors and how this fight actually happened, as it looked for a second this fight wasn't going to happen. Rumors about Devin saying, hey, Ryan's not into drug testing. Ryan saying, no, I'll do whatever. Just not being on the same page. And then just a couple days ago, it switched. The flip switched, and these guys are on the same page thanks to the help of Turkey Al-Sheikh, as it looks like he's organizing this to be a part of a lot of new Riyadh Season and Ring magazine spectacles. A lot of great cards he looks to put on this year, and it looks like these two fighters will fight in 2 cards this year. I'll get into that, with one of them being the rematch. We'll get into all of that, but first, make sure you like this video. Comment below, are you ready and excited for this rematch? And make sure you hit that subscribe button to the Never Drop podcast. But back to the information and what's going on. So first, Devin Haney obviously had the lawsuit against Ryan Garcia for battery. That was going to stop and postpone a lot of things. Ryan saying, hey, you drop the lawsuit, maybe I'll fight you. Devin continues with the lawsuit. Devin goes out to London. He does a media availability, has fans pull up in London right before the Ring magazine. Smart move. He says, hey, I'm here to meet with Turkey Al-Sheikh. He goes, he meets with Turkey, and we see a lot of rumblings that, hey, Turkey wants to see Ryan versus Devin. He put out a list, 5 fights he wants to see in 2025. The rematch is on that list. So you're thinking, okay, we'll see Ryan Garcia's out in London at the same time. Devin Haney, Bill Haney pull up to his hotel. Ryan walks past him. You're wondering what? They're calling Ryan Doug. They're paying for promo, putting that video out there. So you're like, okay, is this going to happen? We see pictures of Turkey and Ryan together. Obviously, we saw Devin and Turkey together. So we're like, okay, this looks like it's getting together. Then Devin puts something out saying, oh, he doesn't want to do drug testing. This fight's not happening. He's a duck. I signed my portion. He didn't sign his portion. So it's like, oh, it's off. So for a day, we're thinking, geez, what a missed opportunity. This is off. And then we get the news, hey, both fighters and their teams, legal teams, Ryan and Devin, have asked the court to suspend the lawsuit coming in and let them work on something in private, individually. And you're like, okay, here it comes. They're putting this on hold because they're trying to make a fight. Comes later that day or the next day, they've decided if Devin stops the lawsuit, Ryan will enroll in, I believe, VADA drug testing, and they will conduct the rematch. As easy as that. These two agreed so far. No official contracts, no official statement. Devin Haney's put something out. He's reposted things saying, hey, the rematch is happening. So it looks like on both fighters' side, they're anticipating this rematch to happen. It looks like Turkey Al-Sheikh is anticipating this rematch to happen. I mean, everywhere I've seen in the boxing community, it looks like this rematch is happening. But the one wrench in it, and this is interesting to me. So the plan is, because obviously it's coming up in April, a year since that first fight, and neither fighter has fought. Obviously, Ryan being suspended, Devin just hasn't been back in the ring. So for both, you would think that they would want a tune-up fight. Get back in the ring, get rid of the ring rust, and then get back to the rematch. That looks like it's exactly what's going to happen, as it looks like they're going to headline or fight on the same card in May. People are speculating, is that going to be a Canelo headlined card? Because obviously Canelo in May is synonymous. But it looks like Devin and Ryan are going to fight on the same card in May. Both are victorious. Then the rematch will happen in October. Which is interesting because for Devin, it looks like his opponent is going to be Jose Ramirez. And he just put something out the other day. He said, see ya or bye to 140. It sounds like he's moving up to 47, which it was going to happen sooner rather than later. Obviously, Ryan couldn't make 140 for the original fight, so the fight wasn't happening at 140 there. He was going to go up to 147. They weren't going to do a catch weight. So it looks like he's going to get his feet wet in 147 with Jose Ramirez in May. Solid fight, solid comeback fight for Devin. And for Ryan, a lot of interesting aspects to who he fights in May. He put out something saying, sign the contract. I told you I only go for big fights. And then Teofimo Lopez quote tweeted Turkey's tweet of Ryan Garcia signing the contract and said something like, "Oh, now it's go time," right? So Teofimo and Ryan Garcia in May, huge fight, but for Ryan, that's a huge risk reward. Obviously, you win that fight, like you're kind of entering pound for pound. I want to say top 10, but you beat Teofimo Lopez after what you did to Devin in the original fight. Then say if you beat Devin in the rematch, you're becoming one of the best fighters in the world. You're beating quality guys. But the risk is if you lose that fight and incur some damage, which Tio, as he's moved up, looks like he's lost some power. So maybe that's the case. But if you incur some damage, that Devin versus Ryan rematch is so much money on the table. Are you willing to just not kind of throw that away? Additionally, another name that's been circulating, which again, I don't understand, is Pitbull Cruz. Obviously, Ryan and Pitbull have gone back and forth in the past. Pitbull liked that fight, huge fight for both guys. But Pitbull fights on the undercard for Benavidez Morel just a week and a half, for 2 weeks now, on February 1st. So I'm sure he'd be fine running it back if he doesn't incur too much damage in that fight, because that's kind of a get back fight after he lost to Rayo back in, what was that, August on the Terrence Crawford undercard. But again, for Ryan, another risk reward scenario. If you take a loss, and particularly kind of a bad loss, I mean, that puts your mega fight on pause. Obviously, a lot of people could say, hey, it's a loss. We still want to see Ryan versus Devin. We want that rivalry. So, but it might just not have that same buzz if you take a loss. But props to Ryan Garcia. I'm not stopping it. If you want to make these mega fights, go ahead. As a boxing fan, I'm not going to stop and say, oh, don't make these good fights. No, if you want to make these great fights, go right ahead. I have no problem with it. It's just an interesting strategy. And then my one complaint on this is the word on the street is May is going to be in the U.S., a card in the U.S., and then October for the rematch is going to be in Saudi. I'm not a fan of that. That fight needs to be in the U.S. This is a U.S. fight. I know it shouldn't have been in Brooklyn for the first fight. It should not have been in Brooklyn. Both guys, West Coast guys, should have been in L.A. or Vegas. Most likely Vegas. That's where the fight should have happened. Obviously, I think Canelo had some dates booked around there, so they couldn't get Vegas. L.A. Basketball teams were in the playoffs, so they couldn't get those arenas either. That fight should have never happened in Brooklyn, but that fight should happen here in the United States, on the West Coast, in Vegas or Los Angeles. That's not a Saudi fight. I understand Turki Al-Sheikh wants the biggest fights in Saudi, make Riyadh a huge destination. No, that fight needs to be here in the United States, and I think that's a huge component to it. Obviously, people are still going to tune in, but it kind of, at least on the state side, draws a little bit out of it. We want to see it. We want to see the press tour, them in LA, them in New York. Obviously, they might still do that, but we want to be able to go to that fight. People on the West Coast want to be able to go to that fight. People in the East Coast want to fly to the West Coast if it's there. I've seen a lot of people agree that fight rematch needs to happen here in the United States. But either way, props to Turkey. He's getting these fights cranking out. He's saying, hey, I want this fight. I'll pay you. We're going to get this thing done. Talked about the guys he's working with. Obviously, the headliner, it looks like Canelo versus Crawford happening. Still no official announcement, but geez, Turkey's getting these guys saying, hey, I'm going to pay you money. You want to fight? Let's fight. So we're going to see. I mean, we all knew Devin versus Ryan was going to happen again. Just was going to wonder, hey, are negotiations going to stall it for a while? Turkey jumped in and said, no, I want to see that, so we'll see that. But first, we want to see you guys back in May, back to seeing, hey, you guys still got it? And then we'll get back to the theatrics and the huge event that is going to be Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. The second fight, obviously the first one in no contest, controversial, one of the biggest events talked about the entire year. We're going to see. I'm excited. I'm ready for the official announcements to come out, so it's not just speculation, social media buzz. Let's see the official announcement from the fighters and then go from there. But right now, Turkey, Ring Magazine, Riyadh season, they're killing the game. A lot of interesting fights talked about and looking and trending like they're happening. I'm excited. Make sure you like this video, comment below. Are you excited for not only this fight, you excited for other Ring Magazine fights? Talk to me. What do you want to see here in 2025? It looks like any fight can be made at this point. Comment that below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the Never Drop podcast. I got all of your content coming. We'll be in the building for Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach on March 1st in Brooklyn. Make sure you subscribe for all that content in the coming weeks. That's all I got for you. It looks like Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, rematch in October, both fighting on the same card in May. Be a spectacle. That's all I got for you today. Peace. I'm out.